In this video, I want to define the 6 trig functions using the unit circle. This is one way to define trig functions for all angles in degrees or radians, as well as for real numbers. There are other ways to do it, which will be shown in another video. So let's think about the unit circle. The unit circle has the equation x squared plus y squared equal to 1. It is centered in the xy plane at the origin, and it is a radius of 1. That's why it's called the unit circle. Since its radius is 1, it's going to intersect our axes at points like 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. We're going to use the circle to define our trig functions for any rotation, for any angle. The way we do that is we just extend what we did for right triangles. We have already defined the 6 trig functions from 0 to 90, the acute angles. So we are going to do that for all rotations by looking at the x and y coordinates of the point on the circle where the terminal side ends up. The hypotenuse of our triangle is 1 because it is just the radius of the circle. So in this triangle, we know that cosine of theta is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent, this length here, is exactly my x coordinate. So the adjacent over the hypotenuse is x over 1. Cosine of theta is just x in this quadrant. So we're going to define it for any rotation as being the x coordinate of the point on its terminal side. Sine of theta, that is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The opposite, this distance here, is simply the y coordinate. So y over 1, sine of theta is just y. Tangent theta. Tangent of theta is the opposite over the adjacent. The opposite is y, the y coordinate. The adjacent is the x coordinate. So tangent of theta is y over x. And we see an identity there immediately. Y is the sine of theta, x is cosine theta. So we can also think of tangent theta as sine theta over cosine theta. So these are the 3 main trig functions. The other ones, secant theta. Secant theta is the hypotenuse over the adjacent. Right? So in this picture, 1 over the x coordinate. But again, we're more likely to think of secant in terms of cosine. X is cosine theta, so this is 1 over cosine theta. Cosecant. 1 over the opposite. The opposite is the y coordinate. This is just 1 over sine of theta because y coordinate is sine theta. Alright, last one, cotangent theta. By definition, this is the adjacent over the opposite for our right triangle. But x is cosine theta. I'm sorry, 2 ways to think about it, right? Cotangent theta is the reciprocal of tangent theta. Which is going to be the reciprocal of this expression here. Right? X is cosine theta, y is sine theta. So we can also think of this as cosine theta over sine theta. So these are our 6 trig functions for any angle in radians or degrees. We'll explore this unit circle more in the next video.